Welcome back to Horror Vibes. This story is entitled 6 Feet Above Ground. 9 years ago, I was camping alone. It was a remote area, so I'm sure I'm the first human being to set foot here in at least a century. I got a big fire going for my camp. Very quickly, I attracted the attention of local wildlife. I heard a twig snap close by my camp. I was worried it was a cougar or a coyote. I retrieved my AR-15 and I set it on the log next to me. I got up and tossed more logs on the fire. I heard another twig snap. I focused my attention on where I heard the sound, and I saw eyes reflecting firelight. The eyes were 6 feet off the ground. I wondered what it could be. An owl? A cougar perched in a tree? A bear on its hind legs? I aimed my super bright, surefire tactical light at the eyes and turned it on. All of the surrounding trees were lit up like day, but nothing was there. I turned the light off. The eyes were still there, blinking rapidly like the light hurt its eyes. I shone the light at them again. I saw nothing. I turned the light off again. The eyes blinked rapidly again. Then they retreated into the trees. I could hear brush rustling as it moved. I felt uneasy, so I cradled my rifle in my lap. I tossed more logs on the fire. I heard leaves crunching behind me. Damn it, it circled around me, I thought to myself. I turned around quickly and shone my flashlight again. I saw nothing there but trees and bushes. I turned my light off and saw those same eyes blink rapidly, then stare steadily at me. "I'm out," I said to myself. I climbed into my Ford Bronco, locked all the doors, and slept in the back seat with my rifle in my arms. I woke up the next morning to find my tent was collapsed. Someone or something pulled up all the tent pegs and pushed it over. I decided to move to a different area 2 miles away. The new area was near a dry creek bed and was full of boulders. I found a boulder about half as big as my house, so I set up camp at the base of it. I built a new fire pit, started a fire, stacked firewood. "Oh yeah, cooking chili tonight," I thought to myself. Suddenly, I heard some bush rustling. "That better be a damn possum," I said to myself. I clicked the safety off my rifle and scanned the area. I saw the eyes again, 6 feet off the ground. I shone my flashlight at it, but once again, there was nothing there. I turned the light off and the eyes blinked rapidly, then moved. The eyes began to circle the fire, rustling and snapping twigs as they moved. I repeatedly used my flashlight to try to get a visual, wiggling it around. I got up and moved around to try to see whatever it was. Nothing. All I could see were the eyes reflecting my campfire, and only when the flashlight was off. I watched the eyes warily as I started creeping towards my Bronco. As I was strafing, I heard the sound of twigs snapping behind me. I quickly turned around. "Damn it, there's 2 of them," I thought to myself. "I've got a gun. Quit playing around and come out where I can see you," I yelled out to them. No response. The eyes continued circling camp, crunching, rustling, and snapping. By this point, I'd had enough of this, so I fired a shot at the ground roughly where I thought the feet of one of them should be. Both pairs of eyes stopped and blinked a few times. The eyes were now side by side. Then they disappeared like whatever they were had turned away from me. I heard them crunching through the brush, heading deeper into the woods away from my direction. I got into my Bronco and locked all the doors again. I didn't want to pack my stuff, because that would involve setting down my rifle and turning my back to whatever those things were, leaving me vulnerable. I didn't want to leave the site without my stuff either, so I settled for sitting in the car. I sat up all night in case they came back. I fell asleep at around 4 a.m. Sunrise came and I woke up. I checked the campsite and found that my tent was shredded and all the aluminium poles were bent. I found my sleeping bag about 20 feet away from the camp and partially buried under a pile of leaves. Something pulled my pot off the fire and ate my chili. At this point, I was terrified. I packed up all my stuff and got out of Dodge. 1 month later, I was telling my friends about the creepy eyes in the woods. They all thought we should go find out what they were. We decided we should load out to hunt bears. One friend brought his FAL and Colt M1911. Another friend brought an AK-47 and a .357 Magnum. Our other friend brought a Mossberg shotgun. I brought my AR-15 and my 9mm CZ75B. The first friend's dad said he wanted to go too, mostly to keep us out of trouble. He brought his Marlin 45-70 and 44 Magnum along. We set up camp at the Boulders site, and I showed everyone around. We got the fire going, and our friend's dad broke out a bottle of Jägermeister. We all shared a drink. Just one though. He didn't want us armed and drunk. We swapped spooky stories to get in the mood, and discussed a Bigfoot documentary on the History Channel. We debated why the History Channel has a documentary on Bigfoot. Suddenly, we heard a loud twig snap. I looked around and spotted the eyes 6 feet off the ground again. Everybody shone their flashlights simultaneously. There was nothing there. We turned our lights off and saw the eyes blinking rapidly. "Dude, it's just like you said," said one of our friends. Everybody took turns shining lights and waving them around. Eyes started circling the camp, crunching through the bush. "How come we can't see anything when we shine our lights?" another friend asked. We heard a sudden crashing noise, followed by the sliding and falling of rocks. Another pair of eyes blinked on top of the huge boulder, then dropped to the ground with a loud thump. We shone our lights. Nothing. The eyes started circling camp, like the first set.
"To hell with this! Rock and roll!"
my friend's dad yelled. We had a mad minute. Everyone fired every round in their rifles and shotgun at the eyes. We switched to our pistols and kept shooting when our rifles had run empty. We reloaded and our ears were ringing. We shone our lights and saw nothing but trees full of bullet holes. We turned our lights off and both pairs of eyes were gone. We searched the woods with our flashlights and didn't find any tracks. We found something like blood on the ground, but it looked like black under our flashlights. We didn't find anything else, so we felt stupid and crawled into our friend's dad's huge army tent. We chatted in our sleeping bags. We agreed we were stupid for shooting like maniacs when we didn't know what our targets were. Nobody would admit we only did it because we were scared. Finally, the adrenaline wore off and I fell asleep. I woke up to the sound of something rustling outside the tent. I slid my pistol out of the holster and loudly snapped the safety off. A hand clamped over my pistol in my hand. My heart dropped. It was my friend's dad. "Shh, it's right outside. Don't move," he whispered to me. We see that whatever it is, it was rubbing against the tent because the tent wall was bowed in towards us. My friend's dad slid out of his sleeping bag and stands up. He carefully stepped over one of our friends to get closer to the side of the tent. I saw him without a gun and got worried. Suddenly, he stabbed the side of the tent with the biggest Bowie knife I've ever seen. I heard possibly the loudest scream I've ever heard. Something that sounds like a cross between a bear that just got kicked in the balls and a pissed off elephant scream. That entire side of the tent collapsed. The others woke up and started yelling in panic. My friend's dad was shouting, "Don't shoot! Don't shoot!" so we didn't all shoot each other in a panic. We finally piled out of the tent and started frantically waving flashlights and guns in all directions. We heard absolutely nothing. It was dead silent. Me and two of our friends piled into my Bronco. Our other friend and his dad got into his Suburban. We stayed up as long as we could, but we fell asleep. 5 guys hyped on panic and adrenaline, and we all fell asleep. It doesn't make sense to me. We woke up shortly after sunrise and went to inspect our campsite. Our tent was collapsed, but hadn't been tampered with. The ice chest was flipped on its side, and all the contents were spilled out. The only things missing were a package of lunch meat, a couple of pounds of beef jerky, and the bottle of Jaeger. We decided to leave. We start packing. Our friend's dad found his knife in the tent. It was covered in blood so dark it was almost black. He freaked out for a bit, cleaned it off, and kept packing. We hightailed it out of there and stopped at a diner for breakfast. As we were waiting for the waitress to bring us our food, we tried figuring out what it was that we encountered out there. One of our friends asked, "Wait, taking the meat makes sense. Why the hell did you steal the Jaeger?" Since then, I've spent a lot of time in the woods because it's my job. I've seen some weird and creepy stuff, including things very similar to this encounter. I don't freak out about it now, nor will I fire panicked shots into the dark or anything like that. I do, however, have a healthy respect for whatever it is out there, and I don't go into the wilderness without a gun. Ever. There is some seriously bizarre, unexplainable stuff out there. Stay safe. Thanks guys. If you liked that video, please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you've had any bizarre, strange or scary experiences when camping. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day.